What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of The Block is Hot. Today, we are doing another interview for a CNFT project that I personally minted myself, and that is Mystic Monks. So in this interview, we're just going to talk to the two founders of this project. We have Damien, which is, one of the developers and CEO and doing all this crazy stuff. And then we also have Jack, that is the artist behind all of this. But yeah, let's get started, guys. If you guys can just introduce yourself to the block and talk a little bit about your project.
Yeah, sure. I guess I'll start it off. My name is Damon. I'm the half owner of Mystic Monks. I guess I'll talk a little bit about myself and kind of how me and Jake partnered up on this project here. So I'm actually my main job and my main focus before the Mystic Monks is a business called Sticker Savages. And what that is a monthly sticker subscription box where I find 10 different artists a month, kind of pick and choose a design. They'll send me some designs and then I feature it in my box, print all these stickers out, and then mail it out to all the savages. So I've been doing that for like around 2 years now, and I've worked with Jake, I think maybe about a year, a little over a year on a couple of sticker designs. So yeah, I mean, we've just been in contact that way, and kind of it just went from there. I saw his little Mystic Monk that he was putting on Instagram and kind of a cool design, and I hit him up just out of the blue, wondering if he was interested in doing NFTs. And yeah, I mean, now we're here.
So did you, so one, that's a pretty cool business. I love hearing about all these different businesses like stickers. That's pretty sick to especially pair up with artists. Like what got you into NFTs? Like were you the one that knew about this opportunity? And then you kind of talked to Jake and were like, yo, I think your art style would work really well with this.
So I've been into NFTs probably like a year, a little over a year. I started like an ETH and then kind of dipped my toes in Cardano because I've loved Cardano and ADA, and I was aware that they had NFTs. So I'm like, oh wow, like I gotta check these out. Like I love Cardano. I'm gonna dive right into CNFTs. And then from there, obviously I wanted to mint my project if I was gonna release one on Cardano. And I think Jake was involved in NFTs a little bit. I'm not sure. Were you involved before I talked to you, Jake?
Yeah. So you wanted to do that canvas print, and then we talked about doing an NFT about it. And that's when I first started learning about them, really. And after that conversation where it didn't quite work out on that first NFT, that's when I started doing my research, getting involved with some other artists, helping them with their discords. And that's when I really started getting involved. And then like a month later, you hit me up about possibly collaborating on a bigger project. And I like a day or two before that, I previously brought it up to a friend, showing them my monk idea. Like, this might make a good generative. And then a couple days later, you hit me up like, hey, this might make a good generative. And you wanted to pair up on it. So yeah, that's kind of where that started.
So that was like really just the perfect synergy between you guys, because you already worked together you already knew Damien about his art and how cool and unique it was. And then you guys both had a little bit of an NFT background, and you're like, yo, this is like a style that could really take off with this, PFP collection sort of thing.
Yeah.
Now, Jake, did you want to share your screen and just kind of show some of the different monks that you guys created and kind of talk a little bit about the inspiration that you had with this art style?
Yeah, definitely. I think I know how to do that. So with the whole monk idea, Mystic Monk idea, I wanted to make a project that kind of empowers people, feel somewhat empowered by the art. If they can resonate and identify with it, it's something more uplifting and positive. So I was inspiring other creative people, like I think the creative ability in us. And also another subject with the empowerment is with the Mystic Monks is like alchemy, is creating the life you want to see. I think we're all like magical wizards creating our worlds, and this is kind of inspiring to that mind of just reminding ourselves we are these powerful creators and that we can create the life we want. So you have like symbols like the create, and the pencil for your artist. And then also I threw a bunch of kind of like futuristic ideas with the robots. And here's a futuristic pack with some crystals. Here's a sea monk, and he's sharing his word, and his word is unity. It's behind the DNA eye. So I kind of tried to get a lot of symbols different creatives can get along with. So, you know, if someone's a musician and does a lot of microphone stuff, that they would resonate with this monk a little more. And so the artist also, or a poet, you know, would get along with the pencil, the scribe. And then there's also, yeah, like Jedi, you know, we all kind of feel like Jedis, you know, in some way inside. So yeah, there's a lot of symbols of trying to like get people to resonate with the art on a positive level.
No, I think that's really cool. And I love it when artists go over kind of their thought process. Because when I look at the art, I'm like, oh, wow, that looks super cool. It's like kind of this trippy, colorful style. But then sometimes I don't take the time to like really look at it and being like, oh, what does this specific trait or accessory really mean to the artist?
Mhm.
Like when you were saying about the microphone, when you're talking about the pencil, like I think that's really cool how there's almost like this narrative or this story behind those different pieces, and there's a reason that those are involved in the art piece. So super cool stuff, man. I haven't really heard too many people like really talk about that, because I feel like a lot of these PFP projects, they're like, okay, what's like a cool accessory or a trait that other projects have done that I can kind of throw in here that might look cool in a PFP. So it's cool that you you really picked like different traits that you felt like portrayed the message that you're trying to bring.
Yeah, thank you. Also, Damon here, he's also brought some balance to that of like giving me some thoughts on what might go over well. You know, there's a lot of me just wanting to throw in all these certain symbols to get this certain theme down, and then also, yeah, Damon had some input on some of the traits, which was good, you know, to have that balance inside the artwork.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think my kind of traits that I like are like the laser beams, you know, the rainbow laser beam that you saw coming out of the pyramid, like those types of things, or the fan art, you know, the Pepe, or like the Pikachu kind of face. Those kind of things are my kind of style. So I wanted to kind of throw those in along with Jake's style and his, you know, his mystic kind of style we got going on here.
Dude, that's honestly like a really cool hybrid blend in a sense of like doing stuff that you know works from other projects and are kind of mainstream and that a lot of people can relate to as far as memes and like what's current. And then also having those deeper traits, because I'll tell you what, like until I just had this interview, I had no idea what that pencil meant. Like I had no idea what like the true narrative or meaning behind that. But I do know like what a Pikachu is. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool that you guys were able to make that blend.
Yeah, for sure. I think like also I wanted a smiley face in there. I wanted like a smiley face man, so I threw that in there.
Oh, dude, dope. Now, as far as like your guys' project goes, like what are you really trying to achieve with this? Like what is your main goal as far as this project goes, as far as like the next 3 months, 6 months, year? Like where do you really envision this going?
Yeah, so I mean, our main goal is just to support artists, support, you know, our artists, first of all, Jake, and uplift the Mystic Monks at the same time, helping the earth out and helping other artists out, uplifting them along with the rising of the Mystic Monks. So like in our roadmap, we've detailed multiple things about earth donations. I can go into that a little bit. So 5% of our total minting money that we made is going to One Tree Planted. And that's an organization that for every $1 that we donate, you get to plant one tree. And we actually get to pick where the trees get planted. So we can either ask the monk community, you know, what areas they want to plant the trees, or maybe we come at them with, you know, 3 to 5 different options. We want to plant the trees, you know, here because of this reason, and they can kind of vote. And then with the one tree planted, they mail us a certificate, and they also take a photo so we can, share that and just be as transparent as possible with our donations. Another thing we're doing is sponsoring an African water well for a village. It's like a village of 150 to 200, depending which village we choose and sponsor. And this is like a well where the organization goes, they build the well, and they teach the entire community, or not the entire community, but a portion of them, how to run the well, operate the well, and repair and maintain the well. So it not only like provides them with clean water, but it also sets up like a job system and a job, like a little hierarchy around that to provide a little bit more value, like on top of the water. So yeah, those are two things we're doing for the earth. As for like our artists and bringing up the artists, we have a community artist fund, and that's also another 5% that we took off of the mint fees and ongoing royalties. And the artist fund is a fund that we simply buy, purchase, and hold NFTs of artists and projects that we really support and appreciate the art. This is like a fund solely to hold and just like appreciate, like maybe put in our metaverse space later down the line. But this isn't a thing where we buy, sell it at a high and kind of just cash out on the profits, or like how the DAOs work, where, they have community votes and then buy it low, sell it high. This is just simply to hold the art and appreciate it. So we've actually already made 2 purchases out of this fund. The first one, Jake, you want to talk a little bit about that one?
The first one was on Ethereum, and it was an Illuminati Congo, Chris Dyer, and forgetting the
Stephen Hutchins, I think, right?
Amazing animator. It was a collab between those 3, and it was paired up with a vinyl for Stupid Fresh Wisdom, an album released by Illuminati Congo. So the NFT was paired up with a vinyl, and it's we haven't seen, or I personally haven't seen, another NFT vinyl, like physical vinyl, pair up myself. So Illuminati Congo has definitely been innovating in some ways. So I was awesome to support him. Also, he's been a big inspiration on the Mystic Mind stuff. He's got some really inspiring music that I listen to a lot while making art. And also he writes some books that have inspired and educated me on some symbols and stuff like that I use. And then also Chris Dyer. I started my time art career after a Chris Dyer workshop. And Chris Dyer has always been a big inspiration in my artwork. And so Chris Dyer, it was awesome to be able to support him back after with this project as like an artist. So that was big for me. So both of these artists have been big inspiration. And also as I'm getting more into animation, Stefan has been also an inspiration there too. So it was a big support move that I'm really stoked on, because all 3 of these people are really awesome. So yeah, I was really stoked to do that as a community. And then do I get into the second buyer now?
Yeah, go for it. We could just shout them out real quick.
Go for it. I want to say too, real quick, that like, I think that's one of the really cool things you guys are doing, because I think that, I mean, there are projects obviously trying to make a lot of money, and that's part of it, right? Is like really rewarding these different artists. But it's cool whenever you can make something unique and beautiful, or just artistic, use your creativity, and then take that and impact other people's lives with it. So, with the community, with the fund to help the earth, like that's actually something that I care a lot about too, is just sustainability and all of the issues that go on with Africa and clean water. Like, it's cool that you guys dedicated a portion to that. And then as far as like supporting artists, that is super cool too, because you guys can work together and even with your community, to find these pieces of art from people that have either supported you or that you really admired, like in your situation, Jake, and you can just hold on to those. So in the future, like, we will undoubtedly have whole entire museums with NFTs. Like, I really believe that. I believe that we're going to be able to put on VR headsets and we're going to be able to go to these different galleries. So that might be something super cool in the future where, let's say you do have, a metaverse piece of land on Pavia and you have your own Mystic Monks museum, and you guys can literally be one of those projects that have just collected a huge variety of art pieces that you can now showcase. So super cool stuff. But yeah, get into your the second purchase. I'm curious.
Yeah.
So I don't have much to add on that. A couple of people that aren't into Cardano NFTs that our Mystic Monk project kind of onboarded into them, like Illuminati Congo, and a couple of other cool people from, I think they're coming from Phantom. But they all saw Teddy Troops and they supported Teddy Troops. That's what brought Teddy Troops to my attention. Was people like Illuminati Congo posting about both of our projects together. And then I looked more into the art of the artist and definitely saw it was great artists. I saw that the artwork is kind of on the forefront there, and the quality is there. And so I was to see another project with like art heavy, art quality, and super happy that we could support that. If you into that, Damon.
Yeah. Shout out Teddy Troops. They're sweet. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I love the art style too, man. And I mean, I think it's cool what we did with the second one with Teddy Troops, where we bought 2 of them and then we hold on to the one, the wizard smiley mage. And then the second one we bought is also like a really sweet one we're giving away. So I think that's a cool thing we could start doing. Maybe not for the first one because it's a little bit more pricey, but for the ones that are a little bit more affordable or ones that we can afford to have too. I think it's a cool idea, hold on to ours at the same time, giving one away to our community or one of our followers is a sweet thing that we're doing. So like for Teddy Troops, we're giving one away, and I think it's still live right now.
Yeah. And what's cool about it too is, you guys can eventually get to the point where some of these artists are coming to you guys and they're like, hey man, if you like this art, we would love to give you some of these pieces for your museum in the future. It's just cool. Like the potential is really there to turn it into something big, because I haven't seen too many projects, because like a lot of projects out there, they'll have like a community wallet or a DAO where it is very profit orientated. So it's kind of cool that you guys are, taking a percentage of the royalties and the amount you made from minting and are just like, hey, we're just holding on to this and appreciating what it is and supporting the people that are behind this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, we have no plans to sell, no plans for like profit, anything like that. It's simply to appreciate it, which is, I think it's really cool.
Now, Jake, I know that you just pulled up your Instagram here. What a lot of people don't know about Jake is that he's actually been doing this for a while. He's not just an artist that came about, made an NFT project out of nowhere. So yeah, like definitely show them some of this stuff on your Instagram, because I was looking through, I was like, wow, this looks pretty dope.
Thank you. So yeah, I come from kind of the festival merchandise community. A lot of enamel pins and that kind of collectibles. Then we have like festival kind of apparel, some clothing. So this is kind of what I was doing before NFTs, was designing pins. This is a upcoming pin release that is inside of pin form yet, but this is going to be a pretty nice. We're doing 12 Zodiac pins for every month. So yeah, this is kind of stuff I used or have been doing. I still do it. Also do album cover type artwork. This was for a vinyl release.
Wow. Dude, you know what I'm thinking of right now is like, what got you into this in the first place? Because this is a very, like, I'm judging from the shirt you're wearing in the background and your style of art, like what got you into this space? Because this isn't like something that you see too often. Like what really attracted you with this?
So I started going to I went to Lightning in a Bottle when I was still in high school, when I was like 17. And that was my first taste of the kind of electric music, like art culture. And I was really just drawing with all of the artists and how they were live painting, and a lot of people were hanging out, just enjoying the art, and how you could walk up and just talk to the artist. So I really liked the live painting community. And from there, and before this, I was already like, my whole life, I wanted to be an artist. I'll get in a little to that. When I was 3 years old, I broke my femur bone and was in a full body for 9 months. And I have a bunch of older brothers and there's a little sister, and they're running around playing and doing stuff, but I couldn't for 9 months. So my thing to get my energy out was coloring books. And I really started getting into coloring books and drawing. And after those 9 months, I was convinced that I wanted to be an artist when I grew up. So ever since I was 3 years old, I've always been drawn and driven to be an artist, and won some like awards and recognition in high school for my art abilities. And then after high school, took some jobs until I went to the Chris Dyer workshop in like 2018, I believe. And that's when I started doing full time. And so before that, in like 2017, 2016 is when I started getting into this culture of the electric music, psychedelic art. I've always kind of had a kind of psychedelic style. I've always been inspired by street art. So how I really got into the merchandise community is I saw these really cool pins, and I saw people collecting them and trading them and selling them. And I was really interested on like how, like the whole community around it. And so I started messaging some pin producers like Symbiotic Expressions, and they're actually one of the first people to really pick me up and help me get my pins out there. And later down the road, they actually invited me to live paint at their booth during a festival. So this is kind of things that I really like to do. I like to live paint at festivals, and I like to meet people at like a community level, you know. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into the whole festival merchandise community and the collectibles.
Dude, that's pretty cool. So like I've actually gone to a few, I haven't gone to a festival yet, but I've been able to go to a few EDM concerts. Some of like the mainstream ones like Alan Walker, Millennium, you know, some of those guys. But I actually live in North Carolina, and they do this thing called Breakaway every single October. And they'll have like a bunch of different like EDM artists there. So it's like a lot of fun. Like that's what I think, like this art style is just so cool. And it's like very detailed and in depth. It definitely takes like, it definitely takes a lot of talent to do this sort of thing. And I think that's like one of the big things with NFTs. Like if you're buying an NFT for art, like it's really got to stand out in some way, and it's really got to be a high quality piece. And with this type of art, like you can't half-ass it. Like you can't just like, I can't do anything like this, right? Because of like the intricacies of it. So that's super cool, man.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
Now, what are your guys's like plans for the future, as in like the short term, medium term? Because I know that you guys released 2,222 of them. You guys sold out recently, which is awesome. And then now you have like the community building, you're buying some of these pieces of art, that sort of thing. Like, is your main goal now to just keep buying these different pieces of art, and then in the future release a few more of these monks? Are you going to do different collabs? Like, what exactly are you guys planning?
Yeah, so I mean, we're gonna do 4 different drops. So the total amount of monks will be 8,888, and that's split between 4 different drops. So we had our first drop, and that's 2,222, and then every month now on, so April will be our next drop. And yeah, we're gonna have 1 drop a month of 2,222 until we sell out. And we're kind of gonna do the same thing where like 5% of the mint fee goes to One Tree Planted, 5% goes to the artist fund, 5% goes to the community fund. And we're gonna do that for every drop. And then at the very end, Jake, you want to talk about the kind of spin-off project we're doing with a bunch of different artists?
Yeah. So at the end, we wanted to, with that 5% community fund that we're also buying NFTs from, we wanted to hire 20 different artists and give them an upfront payment to make a monk in their own style. And then we would take all of these 20 monks and platform an auction for all of these artists and give them back 50% of the auction, and then split the other back into the community funds and whatnot. So that's something I'm really excited for, is to use this project to really get some artists, maybe get some artists that are already in the NFT community, get some that aren't in the NFT community, and get them set up and get their name out there a little, you know. So that's like the really upfront way that we're going to try to support artists, and I'm really excited on that project.
Dude, that's a really good idea. And like, as far as choosing these artists, like, what is your process going to be for that? Are you going to ask around in the community if people know them? Are there different artists that you know? I know with your stickers, Damien, that you might know a couple of artists as well. Like, what is your process for almost like vetting these artists going to be?
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of everything, I think. I'm going to take probably some artists that I've been friends with and are friendly with. I'm sure Jake has, tons of artists on his end that he's already, planning to work with. So we got that. And then we're also going to have some community artists, some artists that maybe submit some fan art and we're like, wow, this one's really sick. We should hit them up and have them do a one-of-one monk, or just have like the my side of the artist, Jake's side, and then also the community side. So kind of a mixture of all of that.
Now on top of that, is it going to be a very similar art style as the Mystic Monks, or are they just going to be like completely different art styles? What's your plan with that?
All different kinds of styles, I would say. I definitely have a lot of like psychic, Mystic Mind type of artists, and then Damon would bring a lot to the table too as well, and we have right there, we already have a wider range of different styles. And then between like the community or even picking up other Cardano artists or something, we can look around and ask around for sure. But the variety is definitely what we're looking for. We want a really cool showcase of a lot of variety.
A really cool uniqueness to it. And it would be dope too, is like, it'll just be cool, especially in the future, because right now we're very early with this metaverse stuff, and there's going to be a lot of projects that don't actually deliver. But I really think we'll get to the point where a lot of this stuff is going to be showcased in these different museums and stuff. Like, I know with Decentraland, I remember going into a couple of the buildings when I, jumped into their application, and you could see different NFTs on the wall in different buildings, and you could click on it and see the link to that specific art piece. So it'd be cool in the future if like you guys can make like this really cool Mystic Monk looking building, and then inside we'll showcase like all of these really cool pieces of art that you did with that collaboration, and just different pieces that you guys have collected over time. Like, I think that'd be the coolest aspect of this, is like really showcasing that stuff. Cause I don't know, like, I know for me, I own like a ton of different NFT projects, but they're not all like focused on art. So as far as like me opening a museum in a virtual world, it might not be that great, right? But if you guys have been collecting for, let's say, like 2-3 years, or a year and a half, 2-3, whatever the time period, like now all of a sudden you might have like a really cool, dope place for people to check out. And like, that's going to give more help and support to the artist, because then they can tie their social media profiles to it. Like, hey, this 1 out of 20 was from this specific artist, and now in the museum you can see that, and if you click on it and you like their style, you can look at their Twitter, and now all of a sudden they have more exposure.
Yeah, that sounds super awesome, man. That's so exciting to like even think about. I mean, we're so early in the game where we can't like make any promises and stuff like that, but it's definitely our goal to have something like that in metaverse land, or even in like real life, like maybe like VR goggles, like you said, or even, there's rumors about like Apple's AR goggles, or not goggles, but glasses. So you just wear these glasses and you'll be able to like see, different NFT pieces, or walk into I think there was actual like a gallery that I forgot where it was, but the gallery was completely empty. There was white walls everywhere, but like somehow I think they put goggles on and they could like see the NFTs on the wall. I think my mom showed that to me and I was like, what? This is such a crazy concept.
Dude, it's so crazy. And you know what's crazier is just how early we are in this space. And that's why I really like covering it on this channel, because it's like, dude, I have done so much stuff in crypto. I've been in crypto since 2017. I got into NFTs over 2 years ago. Like, I just see so much potential in NFTs. And I don't think a lot of people realize like how big this is going to get. And things like those glasses are going to be a reality. Like, people are going to be able to wear glasses or some sort of device. And when they walk on the street, they're going to be able to see somebody's NFTs if they have that available, right? Like, we're already seeing such a high level of adoption. And that art gallery, I mean, maybe that was in Dubai or something. Like, that's where I would put the first one. But just like imagine how cool that would be. Because I think like a lot of people that aren't invested into NFTs don't understand like the ownership of it. It's not just a JPEG that you can save and put on your wallpaper, right? Like, this is an actual ownership that you can display, and it's really bringing the power back to the artist. Because before NFTs, I feel like someone could make like a dope piece of digital art, and then who's to say someone just like doesn't save it and post it somewhere and copyrights it and all that stuff. At least this way, there's that ownership and there's that like reward over time through the royalties and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like I saw a tweet, I think yesterday, where it's like 100 years from now, you know, people are going to think this first like 15 to 20 years of the internet is just crazy. Like, no one has any digital ownership of anything. Like, people are going to be looking back like it's just like the Stone Age, because like there's no digital ownership of anything. Like, I think that's actually going to be a reality, which is crazy to think about. But I mean, we're just so early, and it's awesome to like be here right now talking about these kinds of things.
Now, to kind of finish off the interview here, I like ending on the same question. There are so many different projects that are trying to grab people's attention, and there's so many different things that people can invest in. You know, why should the people watching this video choose you guys? Like, why should they go out and buy a Mystic Monk? Like, what is the sale for that?
I think the answer is simply Jake and his art behind it.
Just like,
I mean, it's just like his beautiful art is behind this piece. He's like, we're 50% owners, so 50-50. And I mean, he's like behind this brand. It's not one of those projects where, you know, that they hire an artist for a couple $1,000s. The artist designs, you know, 200, 300 traits. And then the artist kind of just like walks down the road and he's free and he doesn't get a percentage or anything like that. Like, we're all about the artist rights and building up the earth and sustainability and, you know, giving back. And I just think we're a very wholesome project that's kind of rare to see in the CNFT scene and the NFT scene. And it's kind of sad that there's not more projects that give back more to the earth. And I like strongly urge any project that's coming out or that's already launched, you know, to give back more, to help the earth, to support artists. Because I mean, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, to add on to that, like, yeah, there's, when you're going on Twitter and looking at projects, it's saddening how uncommon it is to see the artist tagged inside of the top, the bio, saying this is the project by this artist. You know, you don't usually see that, and that's something we're trying to switch up. You know, if NFT is a space about in art, you know, the artists need to step up and, you know, make it so. And that's something we're trying to battle that narrative, you know, and take back some of that power and give it back to the artists, you know. And so that's one main reason.
Wow, deep stuff, man. Deep stuff. Yeah, like I never really thought about it, but totally, like a lot of the projects, they just go on Fiverr, or they hire, you know, artists for, hey, here's a couple $1,000, make this. And I never really took a step back and thought about like, wow, like a lot of these artists are just kind of like one time, here's some art, and not really like getting the recognition or the proper compensation that they deserve. So super cool stuff, guys. You know, I appreciate you guys coming on here. Were there any closing statements that you wanted to make before we head out of here?
Thank you for having us. Thank you so much, man. You're awesome. I appreciate you big time.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, man. Thanks for minting 10 of these. I mean, we're happy to have you in our community, and thanks for having us on. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys coming on. And it's honestly been a good time. And I like the art, and I literally minted it, and I'm just holding it and seeing what you guys do with it. And it's cool to know that potentially I helped contribute to some of these artists getting more exposed and helping out the earth a little bit. Like, whenever you can do that, as well as, you know, have a cool NFT in your collection, and then maybe in the future make money too. I mean, it's just like a really cool like trinity there. So, but yeah, guys, it was awesome. And I hope everyone watching enjoyed the video, and I hope everyone here has an awesome day.